atWork Australia would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands and pay our respect to elders past and present. This podcast is being recorded in the southwest and Western Australia, which is land of the Noongar people. We'd also like to pay our respects and acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands from wherever you may be listening from. Listener warning, this episode may refer to explicit drug use, self-harm or domestic violence. If you need support, please refer to the links in our show notes or on our website. Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of Candid Conversations with Shaun. In this episode, I'm joined by atWork Australia client Ryan. It is undeniable that employment plays a significant role in all of our lives and allows us to live our lives on our own terms. It provides a sense of structure, routine, and a sense of purpose as well. And for a person who is trying to reintegrate back into the community after spending time in prison, having a job can be the difference between a successful reintegration or potentially returning to prison. However, we know that sometimes is significantly harder for a person with a criminal record to be able to find employment. But after hearing this guest story, you know it definitely is possible. Well, mate, thanks so much for taking the time today to come on and have a chat with me about your journey and experience with atWork Australia. Really appreciate you taking the time on a Friday afternoon.
You're welcome, mate. You're welcome.
I really think by sharing your story, it can really encourage other people who might have similar experiences that it is possible to be able to find employment, I guess, regardless of the mistakes that you've made in your past.
Absolutely. And there's people like I was classified as one of the worst things you can do. And you couldn't get a worse man than me, a bad man in the eyes of the system. And I'm telling you, if I can find a job, anyone can. And I know there was worse than me. If you want a job, you can get it, mate. It's just what job you want. No one gets out of work, up for work every morning doing backflips. I can't wait to go to work. You know what I mean? But if you find something you love, or not even love, but the people that you work with you love, mate, it just exponentially increases your life for the better tenfold, daily, weekly. You know what I mean?
And I guess work can feel like, well, it's called work for a reason. Not everyone wants to jump up and go, but it's a necessity of life and it's something we'll have to do.
No one. The best times you'll see boys have at work is laughing with the other workmates or this, that, and payday. You know what I mean? But that is working, mate. You know what I mean?
100%. And I guess for people listening to this episode today, what's one thing you'd like them to be able to take away from hearing your story and experience?
Mate, just really, really think things through. There's no such thing as easy money, free money. Even when you can get away with the money, you still got to be around to spend it. And then you don't know 10 years later, something's going to pop up on you. And it's just not worth it this day and age, mate. We're living in a cashless society. I was raised with a moral compass. That's probably why I was that unique sort of one in all the nefarious stuff that I was doing. But, mate, isn't it better just not looking over your shoulder and just earning something, not be a burden to society to give society? Whether people feel like they're owed or they're not owed or whatever, or they just don't give a fuck, that's all right, mate. If people want to become a hermit and just do their own life and not affect anyone, that's them. But, mate, as far as work goes, any work, mate, I mean to the people listening, as long as you just do one at a time, step at a time, you'll finally get where you want to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. That's a great advice.
And nothing happens easy. That's all I want to say. Nothing happens easy, mate.
Of course not. No matter what period or stage of your life in, I guess if something's easy, it's not worth doing. You know, if it's not having to work for it, it doesn't give you the same value at the end.
Exactly, mate.
And I just wanted to start by saying a big congratulations, because I believe now you are working full time and you're doing really well.
Yeah,
in your
5 months,
job.
mate. Me and the dude we were supposed to start in November last year, but because of the new year and the roster schedules and that, we didn't start till January. 2 of the blokes that I started with, the main one that's closest to my age, who's like is my best mate now, he's like my brother. We run the show down there now. Like we've got bosses. We're not the bosses, but as far as that area where we work on the picking station, this and that, we're the go-tos. We're the foremans. You know what I mean? Like who would have thought someone like me, someone like him, was the ones that the big bosses come and ask questions and this and that. And yeah, mate, your background, people will judge you for what you do, mate. You know what I mean? Not so much what you've done. You know,
put in an honest day's work and show
they will
up to
see
work
it
and do
and,
the right thing by the boss.
Mate. Yep, and people will notice, and you will get right, mate. You will get righteous. You know what I mean?
And so, can you tell us a bit more about your job? Where are you working? What are you doing on a daily basis?
Well, I work at Soilco, which is the South Coast premier soil company. We do everything from garden mulch to mix to gold blend, like all kinds of things with soil, fertilizer, compost mainly. But my job's sort of in the green waste supervision. That's what we call it. Really, we're pickers, but we're up on a conveyor belt and we just got to get rid of anything that's non-organic. So plastics, rocks, anything that isn't really dirt and sticks, you know?
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Yeah. And the money's good, mate. You know, I love the money I get. But more than that, I love the people I work for, you know?
That's a good combination. If you
and they honestly do care. Then they're not one of that. Sorry, mate. I apologise. I'll probably do it to you a lot, mate. I do not, please, people listening, I do not mean to be rude and talk over people. It's just a bad Burnsy habit that I got. I've got to shake it. I'm in therapy for it. But my point is, mate, if you just show up and do your best at work, no matter what your background is, as long as you are doing your best, people will see it and they will take you at that. You know, I'm sure we'll go over it later. There is a stigma around people with a record. And I didn't have an extensive criminal history. I just had a quality criminal history, you know what I mean? Like, but working 9 to 5 is where it's at, people, honestly.
And I know you've previously spent a long period of your life in prison. And I know in a previous conversation that you said that you went to prison expecting never to be released. And I believe you were sentenced to life originally.
Well, life is 10 to 12 years, and I got 12. I got 20 with a 24. So yeah, I got a life sentence, and they'll investigate me for other things or allegations and this and that. It was a 2-year operation on me and my friends.
And how do you looking down the barrel of a sentence that long, can you talk us through the mindset that you have to adopt just to be able to get through every day, or sort of
what kind of mindset do you mean? The mindset I need in the situation I was in, like in the world I was in, day to time. I just took that day. Sorry, mate. I just took that day as Monday, and I don't worry about Tuesday till Tuesday. You know, and I did that for 20 years, 365. You know,
wow.
But jail, it sort of changes your frame of mind. Like I know people that have done a fraction of what I've done, like a year, 2 years, and they come out and they're never the same again. The system is not broken, Shawnee. It is dust. You know what I mean? And they've got people that are making decisions where there's officers there that are probably half as qualified, but I guarantee they know a million times better solutions to things, you know? It's a vicious, vicious world, especially for a white guy. Like, I don't know how many jail heads listening to thing, but white guys don't really stick together. I'm a human race person, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. It was hard, mate. It was very hard.
I mean, most people listening will probably never spend time in a maximum security prison.
Right. I guess. So the mindset was, I got to survive today. Once you get through a couple of months just doing that, and you sort of try to solidify yourself, and the only way to solidify yourself in that yard is violence, or just not backing down at the threat of violence. It's sad, but it's true. Any course, anything that I could get my hands on to get me out of that wing, I did it. You know what I mean? Job, I did it. You know what I mean? But again, it is very hard to stay positive, Shaun. So hard, so hard.
Oh, I can't begin to imagine what it would be like trying to in that mindset. But so, can you talk us through a typical day from you wake up in the morning, you're in your cell?
Right, so if they're doing court escorts, which is pretty much every day, they'll start slamming them doors about 5:30. So you're up then. They kick the milks in about 6, depending on the jail. You're out at muster by usually 7, 8 o'clock, which is the first muster. Then I'll have another midday muster, then a nighttime muster. Depends if you're at a camp. If you're at a C Class O section, then you got a bit more freedom. But it's just very hard. It's a hard environment to adapt to, and it's like people lose their moral compass, and you can tell the people who never had one because they probably just hocked it for a fucking shot or something. You know what I mean? It's just, but you can be. I learned very young. You can be in a bad environment and even known as a bad person, but do the right things. If you know what I mean. For the right, it's all motivation. But mate, it is just so hard. Day by day, there was days I felt like, what am I doing? I can't do this. But it was the people around me, mate. Surround yourself by good people, and the next day you laugh. This day, you might not laugh every day, but you get a laugh with these guys. You get a laugh with these guys, and you just try to maintain as much humour as you can. Because when you get locked in that cell, it's rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. You know. And
you were able to build a strong, close network while you were inside.
Mate, I'm not tooting my own horn. I had the biggest network in Sydney, like in underground kind of thing. Not the biggest, but for 2 Aussie boys and all the other boys that were connected to us. But so that translates to jail too. So if someone knows, if you got a bit of cloud outside, it sort of follows you inside. And of course, of the charges I was on. But then I had like 3 of my best friends, or one of my best friends, his girlfriend, and then he even roped his brother-in-law wire up on me for 18 months with a listening device. So when everything came out at court, my co-offender who and other people were trying to make out like I'm the one that told, I gave them up. You know what I mean? I'm a snitch, what you want to mean. And I had to go through that 20 years with that over my head. People who knew me, they ran the balls up. There was sometimes so many things happening in my name I didn't even know, because my mates, my real mates, were there to say, well, I was here when that happened. That didn't happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's just it's just treachery, mate. I know I'm rambling a bit, but it's just treachery. Like, there is no life in crime anymore. You know what I mean? It is just done. And even back then, mate, I always had the day job. I think I mentioned this to you before. Like, no matter how good I was doing in the illicit market, I would always make sure I was doing a chippy, a sparky, some type of apprenticeship somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
And that translate in there. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
So if you want to stay busy in there for the right reasons, you can. But my mindset, it was, holy jeez, how it was the easiest way to explain it without me rambling on for an hour and a half. It's like a bipolar roller coaster that stops every now and then, and just like, you just don't know which way's up sometimes, especially when they're moving you from jail to jail to jail to jail to jail, you know. I was labelled extreme high risk, so I couldn't even stay in the cell for 31 days. They had to move me cell. So I could never make that cell my own. I could never put pictures up. I could never.
Why is that?
I was a bad boy, mate. Like I said, I've done some bad things.
I know, but like, what's the point of moving you from cell to
cell? Because they think,
what's the process behind that?
You don't build too many followers, too many people don't gravitate towards you, or they just still think it's Shawshank Redemption and someone's going to jail out there.
Yeah,
10 by 10 concrete cell with a fork. I never tried any escape kind of thing. I was just a bit violent. Like, people forget, like, I was 21, barely just turned 21 when I went in, you know.
Yeah.
So I had my two beautiful babies, thank God for that. But the relationship I was with their mum just wasn't. It was just toxic, codependent kind of stuff. But I don't know, man. My first 5 years was very hard, but then I grew into it, kind of thing.
Yep.
And whether you want to or not, you have to assert yourself there, because otherwise you're just going to get picked every time. You know what I mean? It's like the weak don't survive in there, man.
Yeah, you got to, I guess you're saying you got to stand up for yourself. If you don't stand up for yourself.
If you don't, no matter, even if it's 10 dudes and you know you're going to get your head jumped on, you have to, because that sets a precedent to 9 of those 10 that tried to jump you, that this bloke isn't just going to be a pushover. So they'll just look for another one. Yeah. And that happens daily.
And I know you briefly mentioned this before, but while you were in prison, did you have the opportunity to participate in any training or gain further education?
Mate, heaps. Yeah, I've got about 40 odd certificates. That's the start of it. That's my little black book. One, that's a framework, seasons for growth, achievement in participation in laundry traineeship. These are like that one, getting smart, my white card. This one, the violent VOTP. That lady here, she's my therapist. She was only supposed to work with me for a year. She rings me and works with me off her own dime for the last 3.5 years. And she said, if it would be an honour for me to accept her for my therapist for the rest of my life, even though she doesn't get paid for it, you know? So, yeah,
so
that's
you
just
still actively work with a therapist today to help you process experiences you've been through?
Yeah, mate, because it's not just the what I did to people, it's what happened to me as a child too. Like, but I don't subscribe to that thing. Like, I got tampered with as a kid, or I got bashed as a kid, so I'm going to go bash my missus, or I'm going to go do this. That's just it's a payout, mate.
Yeah.
To me, I'm not saying that they're not susceptible for it from what they've seen, and they might have learnt the wrong way to do it, but at the end of the day, we are all free-willed individuals.
I guess you have to take accountability for your own actions. Exactly,
that is the word, Shaun, accountability. There's no morals in anything anymore. So if anyone's listening to this, take it from someone. If I've gone to the penthouse and back 3 times over and it's always been fucked up, whether it's through my fault or my own or someone else's, it's just not worth it, mate.
Yeah, it's a shame that it sort of takes the experience of spending 20 years of your life to then come to the other side to realise how much better life can be on the straight and narrow.
It's not even so much better. It is the best you're ever going to get. That is that best. Every time I see one of my mates getting a job and that, I just hashtag best life. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Mate, what's the biggest thing going to whinge about? Tax. You know what I mean?
Oh, people always find things to whinge about.
Oh, yeah, always.
And I guess after spending 20 years of your life and then sort of you're being released, how do you begin to reintegrate into the community? I guess what challenges?
I didn't for about 6 months. I got an Xbox and just sat in the room at my mum's house that I was staying at and did not leave at all.
Yep.
It was too
What
noisy.
challenges were you facing?
Noise, crowds. I'm still not good with crowds. My partner, like, we'll go to Kmart. She sees too many, we'll come back. Oh, no, let's go get it now. She goes, no, because it's going to start twitching in 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Like,
And what is it that causes that? It's just because of the crowds in prison and the crowds outside.
It's just not
triggers
used to
old
it.
memories.
Not used to it. And if they were all like crims and in green in the yard and you had corrective officers, it'd probably feel more natural to me than walking through the Shortlands Mall. You know what I mean? It's just weird.
Yeah.
But you get used to it, mate. Like, anyone says, oh, I can't adapt, this and that. Bullshit. They just don't try hard enough. And at the end of the day, a lot of people, like, I had this discussion with my little brother. He's staring out the car. What the fuck are you looking at? The some bloke, or, you know, the young people are. And the other bloke just came back with the best one-liner I've ever heard. I'm just trying to work out what the fuck you're looking at me like that for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because everyone just has a dirty look on their face. And anyway, I'm rambling. It's just there. It's a different world, Shaun. It's not broken. It's dust. And believe it or not, I'll go out on a limb. I was never a scrim. Like, I never helped do anything for officers or get people in trouble or snitch or whatever. But when you're doing as long as I did, a lot of the Island boys that I knew that became squad members and higher up, like Pippers and all that, I played football with them as a kid. So when you're coming in and you got that background from the outside, but then you come in and they're one stripe and you're doing your first year of 20, by the time you see them in 15, they got 3 stripes on their shoulder running the show. And, you know, they don't forget you, some of them. You know what I mean? So
what do you mean by stripes on your shoulder?
That means, you know, how in the army you get like sergeant, this, that. We call it birch in corrective services because they get like 2 crowns and then a silvery crown and then like 14 bands underneath it. And really it just comes down to money. That's me time and a half.
And you're talking about the guards, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So a lot of them, they would never do me no favours, nothing illegal, but they sort of would give me sort of heads up as if, like, you don't want to go there because of this bloke or there's a bit of this going on, so we can sort, you know what I mean? But my point is, it was just that common respect that they'd seen me come in at 20. I seen them start when I'm starting my sentence, they're starting their career. By the time I'm released,
I guess you grow a relationship with them, right?
And yeah, mate, a very dear one with some, you know, like, because they really do go beyond the call sometimes. But it's the dust because they always got to answer up to someone in an ivory tower that just says denied. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And I guess you say you went in at 20 years old and you come out 20 years later. What are some of the big differences that you noticed in the world? I guess it looked like a completely different place.
Yeah, it wasn't the home I remembered. It was weird. I was walking through my own area in Sydney when I first got out, and my houses are shops, shops are flats, flats are now parks, parks are now houses again. It's just the market. It's the market, the financial market or the housing market, but it's not the same. And yeah, around here, everyone says, oh, it's an area problem because there's a lot of, you know, meth heads around. And I said, mate, I can take you out to someone out like 690 k's inland bush, and they have a harvest festival, and they can't even have people at the harvest festival because people out Timbuktu still can get on the shit and they come and fuck shit up.
Yeah,
so,
I think employment plays a huge part in supporting people to be able to reconnect with the community. I guess, what were some of the challenges that you've faced trying to find work with a criminal record?
I'm not going to lie. The first 3 jobs I went for, they were just like, yeah, thanks, we'll take your resume. No. Then I emailed one to a place that my son told me they've got positions, and they did. They had 4. I went and gave my resume. She obviously Googled me, but you don't get a phone call back. Some of them just don't want to bar of it, but then you get those other ones that are like, oh, yeah, I don't mind. But then when it comes time for the hiring, it's sort of like, oh, we found someone else. You know what I mean? It's just, I feel like it's not that they don't trust me. They just feel I'm a liability. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's disheartening, mate. And it's happened a lot. You know, that's why I appreciate Joe at work. You guys, especially Sorko, the people that are giving me the job, they're just awesome. You know what I mean? And like the amount of work we got out there, they go, mate, you should be picking in your 60s.
I guess that leads into my next question. Can you tell us about how you came to atWork Australia and the experience you've had with atWork Australia so far, and how the team was able to help you to find work?
I met this lovely lady, Sharon, who was my initial worker there. And she was awesome. She heard my story and realised she actually tested me on the phone. It's very hard to do emails, anything like that, you know. So she was awesome. Then I got Kelly. And then out of nowhere, Joanne, the big boss, rang me up. And she's pretty much been handling me ever since, you know. But yeah, man, it's disheartening, bro. And because I come from that old school, mate. You treat others as they treat you. Give the bloke a chance. You're going to know within a day, you know what I mean? So what's the worst you lose $50 day rate or something.
And tell us now about your current role. How does that help you to turn things around, and how has that improved your life?
Oh, tremendously, mate. Relationship, my mum, my baby brother, he just got out of incarceration. He just done 2.5 years. And just everyone, all I hear is, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. But now I'm starting to get a bit, like insulted. Like, really? Like, was I that hopeless? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's not like they thought I was hopeless because, like I said, mate, there's a lot. I was abandoned at a very young age, you know what I mean? And not abandoned to the care of docs. I was abandoned somewhere that I end up in the care of that. And then I end up going with my nanny Pat. But morals, mate, that's what I try to keep in myself, that moral compass. So if someone shines me on and, if the job's not for that, I understand too, mate. So if I had a business, I wouldn't want to be employing all jailheads either, you know what I mean? But just give them a chance, mate. Put them on for a week. If they don't pull their weight, then that's it.
And what would your advice be to other people who might have been in similar situations or might be finding it hard trying to break old habits? What would your advice be to those people?
Like drug habits, it's not worth it, mate. It will get better. They have to physically sort of make moves to get out themselves. Do never rely on anyone else because you're going to meet so many people like, I'll help you with this, I'll help you with that. And then the day you need them, they're like, I won't be back for 2 days, or, I'm working at 8:30. It's like, mate.
Now, my next question, what would your advice be to employers out there who might be hesitant to give someone a second chance because of their criminal record?
Give them a trial. See how they are. See how they work with you. See how they work with the people, and then that. But don't judge a book by its cover, mate, because people forget. Like Australian was stolen, and we were founded by a nation of convicts. You know what I mean? So I know that's old school history and this and that. But at the end of the day, doesn't that tell me that we model ourselves as the land of the fair go? So if they give anyone a fair go, whether they've got criminal history or what, until they give them reason to doubt that from their actions, not like Chinese whispers, I'm pretty sure they'll get where they need to go.
You judge people on their actions. If someone asks for a job, they show up every day, give 110%.
Yeah, mate. That's
what you can
get them to put their money, get the employer to put their money where their mouth is and just say, all right, mate, you want a job? 8 o'clock Monday, 7 o'clock Monday. If they're not there 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and they text you a couple of days later, my dog was sick, then that's it. Cheap lesson. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I fully believe the universe puts us exactly where we're meant to be at all times, mate. And people say, but why do these things that happen to people that they suffer might not be for you? Could have been for the bloke standing next to you. It could be for your mother, your sister. Someone would have got something from the universe from that. It doesn't necessarily have to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. You do something good and eventually good things come back to you.
100%, mate.
So what would your advice be to, I guess, a younger generation or younger people who might be finding themselves coming out of prison these days and not knowing where to turn to?
Job agency. Number one, atWork, mate. Got to plug the atWork because they're the ones that helped me tremendously. Not just with this job, they got me like 3 before this. You know what I mean? Synergy. Just go to labour hire companies, mainly mate. You will get them through job seeker. Your job network people. They're not just there to harass you for points. If you dead set want to find a job, I guarantee they're going to hit you with that many opportunities. You won't know which one to pick. But they just got to have faith that working is the way to go. That's why I kept humming on. Like people that have been to the penthouse and back know that the penthouse isn't even achievable anymore. Like, unless you're like YouTube money or whatever the hell, and that's not even that much. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
they got to just have a goal, a constructive goal. But as far as work's concerned, don't hold out for the job that I've only ever wanted to be an Air Force pilot or a doctor or a boat driver. Mate, don't just hold out for that because no one's going to just come up to you and say, hey, mate, someone down the pub told me you can ride a bike here or ride a motorbike. Come with me,
Yeah, I guess sometimes when you've been through the situation like that and you just come out, you have to take any opportunity you can get, and that's a starting point.
Always any opportunity, mate. Like I got a lot of kudos in the streets because I was that dude that never said no. Good, right, or in between. It translates in work, mate. If they want you to do extra hours, they want you to come in for a day. And people are, I want a full-time job. Maybe that coming in for a day is to see if you can handle the full-time job. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But yeah, seriously, chase your job providers, Centrelink even. Mate, if not, seek, mate.
If you do a job that you might not necessarily want to do, it also shows future employers that you're going to rock up. You can be reliable.
Exactly. This is what you are spot on, mate. I just went through this with my son, Dallas. He sort of took it or leave it. You know what I mean? But now that he's starting to bond there and he's starting to get a bit of respect from the others, the ones that he didn't like before are showing him a bit of respect now. It's amazing how they turn around. You know what I mean? Like, you got to just judge people.
You don't have to get along with everybody.
No, and that's what our boss said the other day.
Respect everybody and work hard.
That's right. You don't have to like me, but he's still your boss. You don't have to like her, but she's still my boss. You know what I mean? Like, things like that. Definitely. I think when you get to work, you should just work. You know what I mean? If you can have a bit of fun at smoko or talk shit, whatever, all good. But we're here to work, mate. You know what I mean? And I think there's a lot of people out there, Shaun. That's why I'm hoping. That's the only reason I agree to do things like that. I've got to give a shout out to Joanne. Can you please put that in there? Joanne from atWork. She's my girl.
Of course. Where do you think you would be now in life if you weren't working?
Dead, mate, dead. I've envisioned my death since I started doing the things I did. And my psychiatrist, that's why she stays in therapy with me. She thinks it's a memory, but it's not from a past life because there was things in it. But it's the same person all the time, sneaks up behind me and shoots me in the head. I've envisioned this my whole life, but it's not going to stop me from getting up and going to work and having fun and loving my life and anything like that.
Is that just because different events throughout your life, paranoia?
Yeah, no, because I spoke to therapists about this. She was convinced it was a past life memory, and it's like, no, because I described other things and just the fact I didn't know him and things like that. And this has been recurring, not every night, but every couple of months since I was like 17, 18.
Yep.
So, again, mate, just stick with it because that mantra, I tried. You know, people, mate, you have to try more than once. You might get knocked back 10 times, but that 11th one is the one you've been looking for.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. You got to keep standing back on your feet and going
always,
after what you want.
Always. Pick your socks up, dust it off.
What does the future look like for you in your workplace?
Oh, mate, I've been assured that as long as I don't quit or I don't fuck it up at all, which I'm, you know, when I mean fuck it up, I like just having too many sickies and this and that. I'm hoping they sign me on to the proper Sorco family. We're still down as labour hire, which we're still classed as them, you know what I mean?
Yep.
But, you know, it's that grounding. It's more grounding for me to know that I've got people that I love to work with, people that I can go to when I need to help work. But the life's your oyster, mate. You can do what you want. People just got to learn to be patient. Patience is the key, mate. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to knock on your doorstep and say, hey, mate, you want this, and that, you know? If I didn't have work, mate, I don't even want to think about what my life was like.
Work's a necessity for all of us, and when we go to work, we get paid, and that allows us to be able to live the life on our own terms and be able to get the things that do make us happy. People say money 100%. Doesn't make you happy, but
it does.
Very hard to live. Very hard to live without it.
I don't think a sad man, if you just gave him $1 million, is going to make him happy. So I agree with that. Yeah. But you can't tell me that you're not going to live a better quality of life with money. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
of course you are. And my thing is, it's like nothing comes easy. Nothing. And you just got to keep trying, and it will come. And like I said, if something bad in the universe, because I hear so many people, I don't try, my karma, this, that. No one's got worse karma than me, mate. I'm telling you, I love my job. You know what I mean? I love the way people look at me now that I'm working. I love that when Centrelink start hit me up for my job points, I can just say, well, mate, there's a reason I'm reporting in 2 weeks. I'm not doing Centrelink anymore.
Yeah, must be a good feeling.
Oh, mate, it is. Because you're taxed to the people. People don't realise that, but it is. It's the people that are out here doing the 9 to 5s that actually give them their luxuries.
Yeah.
Working is a life changer. But please, peeps, don't expect that you're just going to hold out for that one job that is your dream job.
Thanks everyone for tuning in for another episode of Candid Conversations with Shaun. As always, to find out more information or for guides for where you can reach out to support, please refer to the links in the show notes.